Okay, we are going to call this a regular meeting of the Martin County School Board to order. If you would all please rise for the opening prayer by Pastor Steve Bray from the Grace Place, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance.
Thank you so much for taking a moment to seek wisdom from above. Let's pray. Loving and gracious God, you are the giver of all good gifts. And we thank you today for all your blessings. We thank you for a summer season to refresh our teachers and renew our students. We thank you for another school year to invest in the next generation. One of the greatest concerns, of course, for any school leader and certainly any parent is the safety of our students. Please protect us from evil. Offer your divine protection over each and every one during this school year. We lift up this school board to you in your sovereignty. You have placed them in this position of responsibility. So we come to you asking that you grant them wisdom, discernment, and courage to make difficult decisions. There are very few easy decisions in this era of vastly differing opinions about the role of education. Theirs is not an easy nor enviable task. So I pray that you give them both a sensitive spirit to discern what is right and a thick skin to handle the criticism. I pray that you would give them grace and understanding with one another in all their deliberations. And in all things, grant each of us the humility to seek your will. We ask these things in your name. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you, Pastor Bray. And now I will call the roll. Ms. Pritchett? Here. Mr. DiTerlizzi?
Here.
Ms. Russell?
Here.
Ms. Roberts?
Here.
Okay, thank you. Okay, now, do I have a motion to approve the agenda with the following items added? 7.04, 10.04, the following items updated, 5.04, 11.01, 15.04, the following items removed, item 3.07 and 18.02, and the following item moved to the action-only agenda, 4.03.
Motion to approve the addendum, items added, items updated, and items removed.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, now do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda minus 3.07 and 18.02 and 4.03?
So moved.
1402 is not consent, right?
It's removed, yes. 18.02, 3.07 and 18.02 have been removed. 4.03 moved to action.
So I move approval of the action, or the consent agenda, with the exception of 3.07, which was removed, and 4.03, which was moved to action.
And 18.02, which was removed.
That's for action?
No, removed.
Yeah. But
I have
we're
it on
doing
my-
consent?
No,
Okay.
it wasn't 18.
Well, we approved the agenda.
Oh, I'm sorry.
In the consent. Yeah.
I was thinking 18.02 was consent. Thank you.
Thanks.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Roberts. Do I have a
Second.
second? A second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, now, next up, we have our, what's going on? Board member discussion. Ms. Pritchett.
Oh, that came fast.
I know.
Are we going to discuss anything about the new dress code? Because I was looking at the piece of it about the shorts where it says must cover and be 4 inches. I think it should say and in there, not either or. That's my concern. So is that something that I need to put on the agenda, or is it something we can discuss during the policy?
Is it, hold on one second, let me look at the agenda. I think we probably are gonna wanna take that. I mean, if it's something very simple like that, Mr. George, will we have to re-advertise and
No, it's
start the
not,
process
if
over?
it's not a substantive change, then you can still move forward.
So we would probably, let's see here, hold on. Because that is not, we've already approved our dress code, so we'll have to re-advertise it.
Right.
And is that right? How do we handle that? Because it's even just a small or
Can't we reconsider the motion since we're at the following meeting following, as long as it's brought up by somebody who voted in favor of the motion, which Ms. Pritchett did vote in favor of the motion, so she would then be able to
reconsider?
bring it up for reconsideration, then we can reconsider.
All
and
right.
vote on it.
So we'll do that during action? Is
Sure.
that okay?
Sounds great.
I'll make a note to put that. And then you also had
In the meantime, if Ms. Falls can look up and get exactly what the agenda number was for that item, so then we would know what we're reconsidering when we get to it.
okay, so we'll bring that up. We'll do that as an action item. Okay, Ms. Pritchard, did you want to talk about the legislative priorities?
Yeah, can do that now. All of you should have received an email. I went ahead and did it separately as we discussed. I also had a letter sent out to the Congress regarding the IDEA funding, and that was taken care of today. But I urge each of you, if you have something specific that you want to bring to their attention to do so. I think we have a little more time. And I'll be on a call, I believe, tomorrow to go over any other things that they want to bring to the forefront. And I'll bring them to the workshop for discussion if you want, and if we need to put anything on the agenda that we can.
Yeah, I think we should probably add legislative issues to our September workshop.
Okay.
There is one that I am working on with Dr. Miller and about graduation pathways.
Okay?
So I want to just kind of talk to you all, talk through that. We will hopefully have had a meeting before our workshop to finalize a plan of action.
Okay.
And then we can bring that to the board to
All
add
right.
it to our agenda.
Good. That sounds good.
I've had some preliminary discussions with our local legislator delegation, so
Okay.
I would like to, if we can get it finalized so that it can be presented at the October meeting.
Okay. Sounds good.
So then we would vote on the legislative priorities at the
September.
September meeting, and then you'd have what you're taking to the delegation.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
So we would have, if you have items that you would like on the legislative agenda, please get them to Mr. Maine so that they can start compiling that, and then we'll have the overall discussion at our workshop, and then a final vote at our September regular meeting.
Okay. Sounds
Okay.
good.
Amy, did you have anything else?
That's it. Thank you.
Okay,
I have one other
okay.
board member discussion. I know that back when Treasure Coast Classical had their audit that was shared under board member information share, two issues that were brought up. One had to do with security, and the other one had to do with their class size. There were two audit findings in that, and I know that the district at the time had said that they would look into that. So in the security area, so that our security people would be talking to their security people and deciding what best practices were, et cetera. And at the same time, look at the class size issue, which was brought up in their audit. And their answer to that, of course, was that it wasn't an issue, that they were fine, but you've got two conflicting things. You've got an audit that says one thing, and you've got the party saying that it's not. And I know that the district said that we would have a conversation with them and look into it and kind of come to some. And I know that members of our legislative delegation are interested in both of those things that we said that we would do and wondering what the conclusion is. So if we can look into that and see if you need more information as to the date of that discussion, et cetera, let me know and I can look those up. But I know those were the two issues that came from that audit and that discussion. So, thank you. Do you need consensus for that?
For what?
For him to look at that? No. Okay, good. Thank you.
No, just look into it, report back to us, and then let us know the
Julie,
status.
you got it.
I think,
Thank
that's really part of under your purview as,
Yeah.
under the management agreement. Okay. Any other board member discussion? Okay, next up, we have district presentations, and first is a proclamation for Constitution Week. Portia Scott?
Yay.
Come on up.
Hi, y'all. My understanding is that the board has decided to go ahead and give us the proclamation celebrating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week, and we appreciate that very much from the board. We thank you. This is on behalf of the Halpatioke chapter of the National Society Daughters of the American Revolution, which I can spell. And however, it affects everybody who lives under the guise of a constitution. So we thank you for helping us promote awareness and recognition of this astounding document, which continues to guide us through our lives. Thank you.
Thank you, and I will read the proclamation. Whereas September 17th, 2023 marks the 236th anniversary of the adoption of the Constitution of the United States of America by the Constitutional Convention. And whereas the Constitution is the most important document of these United States, and whereas the Constitution stands as a testament to the tenacity of Americans throughout our history, and whereas it is fitting and proper to lend this board's dignity to this wholly remarkable document, the safeguard of our freedoms, and commemorate this anniversary. And whereas there has been a spectacular new emphasis on the founding fathers by the arts across this nation. And whereas Public Law 915 guarantees the issuing of a proclamation each year by the President of the United States of America designating September 17th through the 23rd as Constitution Week. Now therefore, we, the Martin County School Board, by virtue of the authority vested in us, do hereby proclaim the week of September 17th through the 23rd, 2023 as Constitution Week, and encourage all citizens and students of Martin County to study the Constitution, the historical events which led to its framing, and reflect on the privilege of being an American with all the rights and responsibilities which that privilege entails, including taking personal responsibility for protecting and defending our Constitution against those who wish to subvert it. In witness whereof, I have hereunto set my hand and caused the seal of the School Board of Martin County, Florida, to be affixed this 15th day of August of the year 2023. Thank you. So now I will take a motion to accept the proclamation, please.
So moved.
Move approval of the proclamation.
I have a motion by Ms. Roberts and a second by Mr. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Sorry about that, Mr. DiTerlizzi, you were a little late.
That's okay, there must be a time delay.
Okay, moving on to our student representative, Austin Connolly. We have a brand-new student representative from Jensen Beach High School. And Austin, I'd like to invite you up, or if you would like to sit, either way. If you want to come up to the podium, that way you'll be on camera and everybody can meet you. And you can tell us a little bit about yourself.
Perfect, okay. Good evening, distinguished members of the school board. I want to start off by saying how much of an honor it is to be selected for this position and how excited I am for the opportunity to be able to work alongside all of you while representing my peers. My name is Austin Connolly, and I'm currently a senior at Jensen Beach High School, where I am the captain and quarterback of the football team. I am an AP student and am currently ranked 8th in my class. The past 2 years, I've experienced 2 very traumatic injuries of which both resulted in miraculous healings that have not only grown my resilience, but also grown my faith. And I'm actually the student that when any of my peers or teammates are having troubles, they come to me and they ask me if I will just pray for them and kind of feed into them and help them with things that are going on in their life. So I'm very excited for a great school year and excited for the opportunity to be able to work alongside each and every one of you. Thank you.
Thank you, Austin. Welcome
Thank
to.
you. Welcome.
Welcome to the Martin County School Board as our new student representative. We look forward to hearing all the great things that our students are doing in the Martin County School District. So thank you for being here. Okay, next up we have our district update. Mr. Shazo.
Good afternoon, Madam Chair, members of the school board, and Superintendent Maine. I am excited to bring you our first district update of the 23-24 school year. So let's dive right in. One of the most common misconceptions faced by school districts concerns what actually goes on during the summer months. When school is not in session, our staff members prepare for the upcoming school year in a similar manner to how an athlete would train and condition during the off-season. This way, when students return to classes, we are prepared to hit the ground running and pursue excellence from day one. Let's take a look at how our extended day staff train during preschool week to bring fun and engaging activities to our elementary students this school year.
What y'all trying to do? Keep up that fella. Here we go.
Preparing for a new school year, one game at a time.
So another game you can do. What can you do with a bucket? Play basketball with a bucket.
Half of the extended day training involves learning how to keep it fun for the kids.
Now we're gonna do something fun right now. Let's go to Star Wars parachute. We're gonna do a little parachute now. How many of y'all have parachutes at your school sites? Okay, how often do you use them? So you start using those items and have some fun with it.
Rain or shine, these counselors have every game in the book to keep the kids active.
A game that you can play with no equipment. That's the hard thing to do sometimes.
Heads Up 7-Up, Miss Mary Mac, Sharks and Minnows.
That's your key, that's your target. Have fun with your students. If you're having fun, they're having fun. If you're not having fun, they're not gonna have fun with you. You gotta be uplifting, encouraging, there for those kids. The time you have them, give them the best time of your life. Make every day count with your students.
Of course, equipment helps, and counselors get a slew of items that can create dozens of different activities. Items as simple as balloons, golf balls, buckets, or a cone can keep the fun going and going.
Heads, shoulders, knees, toes, head, shoulders, cones. In the day, the word. E stands for excitement. You gotta have excitement when you're involved with extended day with those kids. You get them excited about coming there. We're gonna do the Soul Train line. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. That means we're gonna do a line over here on one wall, a line over here.
Extended day counselors are ready to fuel the creativity of their students. It's going to be one fun year.
Got the tools, you know what you're doing, and you're gonna do a great job this year. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10.
We know our extended day counselors are energized and they're ready to bring all of those fun activities to our elementary students. With excitement, passion, and thousands of smiles on display, the Martin County School District began the 23-24 school year on August 10th. This highly anticipated new academic year has much to live up to, as faculty and staff are energized about the new visions, new pathways, and new possibilities they have the potential to create for each Martin County student. Let's take a look at the heartwarming start of this journey.
It's the first day of school!
The first day of school.
Cars are lined up, buses rolling out. It's the first day of a brand new school year in the Martin County School District.
It's just so exciting.
The energy comes alive as students get familiar with their home away from home.
I am so happy to see you again.
A new year comes with a sense of freshness. New shoes, school supplies.
New for this year, we have a wheel.
An exciting journey with new goals is ready to unfold.
It's a huge day, and everybody's committed and excited and ready to receive students.
The excitement is everywhere, in the hallways, the cafeteria, the classrooms.
Paper versus happy and bag of trail mix. Ah!
The first day of school is full of promise and potential.
Paper wins again. Can no one beat me?
Teachers, administrators, support staff, students, together we can achieve greatness.
Now it's your turn. Find a partner.
Being the best is a lot to think about on the first day of school, but the vision and pathways are there to create a future of endless possibilities for our students.
We're committed, the staff is committed, our teachers are committed to make sure that our students are receiving the very best education.
What an amazing first day of school. You guys ready for 5th grade?
So even though we're just starting the first full week, let's give our students, families, and staff a round of applause. It's been an excellent start to the school year. And finally, we'd like to remind our families and community that our comprehensive one-stop shop for back to school is still up on our website. This page provides all of the information families need to continue building upon the successful start to the school year. We have our emergency contact and parental consent forms in the Focus Parent Portal for families that would like to use that option to send this information in for their child this year. The Focus Parent Portal is also where families will be able to view their child's grades, attendance, and assessment results throughout the school year. We ask families to complete the consents as quickly as possible so that our schools will have current contact information and consent on file as we continue the academic year. Members of the community and families are encouraged to reach out to us anytime using the Let's Talk tab on our website. This is often the fastest way to obtain information from key district staff about various topics throughout the school year. And until next time, you can find us wherever you scroll.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have the superintendent update, and I know you want to share some staff changes, or additions, I should say.
Yeah, some great additions. Good evening, Board Chair, members of the board. Superintendent Main, I appreciate the time this evening. We have 3 great, exciting board members that we would like to, staff that we would like to introduce to you. The first one is Juan Amenda, who's going to be our new capital planner for the district. This is a position that has been open for quite some time, so we would like to welcome Juan to the team. He's going to do an excellent job. As we know as a community, we have many developments that are going up. Lots of construction projects, and this position is going to be key in making sure that we have our enrollment pinpointed down to as close to the number that we can so that we know how we're going to be planning for the future in the district and within our school system. We also would like to recognize Crystal Grauer, who I believe is behind me, who is going to be our new assistant principal at Warfield Elementary. If you please stand. Such a wonderful family. Husband is here and her 2 beautiful daughters, and so we appreciate their support, and we know that Crystal will do a fantastic job at Warfield. So welcome aboard, and thank you. Yeah. And without further ado, Amy Morrell, who is be our new assistant principal at Pinewood, Amy Porter. Yes, I had Amy Morrell on the mind. That's my fault. All right, excuse me. And I was out visiting at Pinewood this morning and had the opportunity to take some pictures and welcome her to the team. So Amy will be a wonderful addition, so welcome. Thank you. All right, so superintendent's update. Sorry, Amy, I'm a little back. A lot of Amy's going on. All right. So we had a fantastic kickoff on Friday. The superintendent's kickoff was full of energy. It was a beautiful pep rally with all staff invited, and I've had more compliments about the entire team being together. Our theme was Better Together, and to have our custodians there and our secretaries and the entire district, over 2,500 employees, together in one auditorium, the energy was amazing. We put them up to a big task, and they far exceeded my expectations of their enthusiasm and their theming. And so we had a spirit stick, and there was a rubric, but we're going to have to tweak some things because there are schools and departments that are saying they got robbed. But we're going to continue this process throughout, and we have a video that we'd like to share. So.
This moment begins a fresh journey that promises new visions, pathways, and possibilities.
Martin County School District, y'all are wild. I mean this with all my heart. Your energy is unmatched. One of the things that I share with the educators is that we don't have a content issue. We have a connection issue. That every single one of us has a moral responsibility to love first and teach second. From transportation to nutrition to teachers to counselors to principals, if every single person in the student experience was committed to loving first and teaching second, you will see results like you've never seen before.
Room, every single employee, because we truly are better together, and every one of us makes a difference in the lives of kids. Every one of us.
My story is one of thousands. I'm a testament to the struggle, sacrifice, and triumph of immigrants seeking a better life. I know that I'm building a life full of possibilities and opportunities, thanks to my mother, education, and love.
In the beauty of collaboration, we find a sense of inspiration. So just call on me, brother, when you need a hand. We all need somebody to lean on.
Now, my success story was not something that I could do on my own. Just like our theme, Better Together, I can assure you that I had a tribe who knew that if they all pushed me, I would be someone one day.
This spirit stick this year, 23-24, is going to go to Warfield Elementary! Journey to the #1 spots starts now.
Well, I got goosebumps all over again because just the staff is just amazing, and we're doing incredible things. And that journey to the top and climbing to that #1 position begins with having a strong instructional practice profile. And so the academic services team is building upon the work that has already, the foundation that was already laid, in making sure that our team has strong instructional practices in place, and that the expectations amongst our district team as well as our school-based team and those teachers know exactly what's expected of them in the classroom. Tuesdays and Thursdays have been identified as coaching days. Today was a first opportunity for most district office staff to be out and about on schools every Tuesday and Thursday, where we will be entering classrooms, checking in on our principals and administrators and teachers, making sure that they have the tools that they need necessary to be able to do their jobs to get to that #1 spot. And part of that for teachers is making sure that they understand what what good instruction looks like. And so before you on the screen, you'll have the instructional rigor walk template that has been developed by the team in coordination with using some of the state best practice to understand what good scaffolded instruction looks like, what corrective feedback looks like when we're speaking to our students, and also all of the elements that go into the different differentiated instruction pieces and what that learning environment needs to include for strong student engagement. So the teams will be going through, and after they go through classrooms, they'll be marking this form and provide a debrief session. At the end of each walkthrough, they'll look at data to determine where the students are performing well, where the students are not performing well, and any necessary adjustments that need to be made prior to the team leaving. And because we will be out so often, we'll be able to take a snapshot and a look at how the school did in comparison to their subsequent visits, and if we're showing improvement over time. So we're excited about this. Again, the foundation was laid last year, and we're going to continue to increase our overall efficiency in this area. The academic services team led by Mr. LaBarbera also is going to be sending out daily, I think this is our fourth one today, to the district on what, again, the expectations are for day 1, day 2, all the way through 180 days, making sure that they are focused on making sure student outcomes are that we're leveraging our teachers' expertise to make sure that student outcomes are growing. And the data components that we will be getting back with the new FAST assessments will be able to allow us to pivot quickly to address any areas of need. So we're excited about this, and the team is doing a fantastic job in making sure that we are laying the groundwork and having those high expectations for our staff. We will continue to report back the workshop that's coming up, either the next workshop or the workshop after. I'm going to ask that Mr. Moore and Troy LaBarbera put together a presentation for the board on how our school grade calculations go together, so that there's a firm understanding, so that we know where our points are and exactly what we need to do to hit that A. So thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up we have a legislative update. Is there a presentation or just, are there any questions? Any questions on any of the information-only reports that have been presented from the board? Okay, seeing none. We are a little early for public comment, which doesn't start until 5, so we can kind of move on to, we'll take on school board travel, which is item 18.01. And I'll just read. In compliance with Florida statutes 1001.39 regarding travel expenses of school board members, where any travel outside the district that exceeds $500 requires prior approval by the school board. And travel outside the state must include an itemized list detailing all anticipated travel expenses, including but not limited to anticipated costs of all means of travel, lodging, and subsistence. This agenda item provides the required information. The statute further specifies that the public must have an opportunity to speak on the specific travel agenda item. Is there anyone from the public who would like to speak on this item? Okay, seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve item 18.01?
Motion to approve.
18.01.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Russell, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, 18.03. Do I have a motion? Are there any questions?
I move approval of 1803 and remind the superintendent that we're still looking for the ET
Yes.
plan.
Updates on the plan.
Update
Yep,
plan,
you got it.
yeah.
Okay. I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 18.04 is approval to renew the piggyback with Palm Beach County School District for miscellaneous janitorial supplies and accessories. Are there any questions on this item? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Roberts. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. 18.05 is approval of the piggyback with St. Lucie Schools for integrated pest management services. Are there any questions on this item? Okay, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve 18.05.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Russell, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 8.06 is also a piggyback with St. Lucie County Schools bid for janitorial supplies and chemicals. Are there any questions on this item?
I had one.
Okay.
I think it's a Carter question. So this gets, I don't see Carter.
Negotiation.
Where is Carter? Oh,
Negotiations.
That's okay, I'll check with him later. I just wanted to see whether it went through the strip for the school or whether it went through a central strip for the general fund, but I'll check on that. Thank you.
do you have the answer, Renee? Oh, you have to come to the podium. No. Sorry.
Oh, hi Renee, sorry.
Madam Chair, members of the board, Superintendent Main. It's actually a mixture of both. Some of the vendors are through our warehouse that we purchase from to stock, and then some schools might need to run to Home Depot or something like that, where they would use their general fund.
Okay, thank you. I move approval.
And that was Renee Hayes, by the way.
Second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay, 18.07 is approval of the piggyback with Broward County Public Schools for milk and other dairy products and fruit juices. Any questions on that? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve 18.07.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Russell, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 18.08 is for the school district boardroom exterior finishes and roof project, access control and video surveillance. Are there any questions on this item? Do I have a motion?
Motion to approve 18.08 exterior finishes and roof project and video surveillance access control.
Second.
Have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And good news, we will be in our new location for our September 5th workshop. So hopefully we'll have all those things in place. Really exciting.
Good stuff.
Okay, next up, we'll take the dress code issue. If you want to advise how we go about this, Mr. George?
So, Madam Chair, you all did the second hearing and adoption on your August 1st special meeting. So I would expect it was a unanimous decision from someone who was in support of it. They'd be asking to have it agended at your next meeting where notice can be put out, and then you can change the and/or.
Okay, so this was the August 1st, 2023 special meeting, and it was item 7.01. So for whoever would like to make that motion.
I would like to make a motion to put on the agenda.
reconsider.
To reconsider 7.01, to add an "and" into the policy so that it would shore up with what our intention was. I'd like for it to be considered on the agenda at the September 5th.
At the next regularly
Regular-
scheduled
okay,
board
so
meeting, which will not be until
September 19th. Okay,
Unless we have a special meeting in between, we'll bring it, but otherwise it will be at the next board meeting. We do? We have a special? Okay, we can do it at the September 5th meeting.
Okay.
Because we have a trim meeting, so we'll add it to the September 5th meeting. And just for clarification, that was item 7.01 from the August 1st, 2023 special meeting.
And Madam
Thank you.
Chair, So what I'm hearing, you're making a grammatical change, not a substantive change to the actual student code of conduct.
I mean, I guess you should probably look at the language to make sure it's
Look
not
back.
substantive, but either way, we can bring it up for reconsideration, and if we can't act on it because because I don't think we can really review this on the fly right now, or expect that. So we'll bring it up, we'll have it at the September 5th meeting. If it's not something and we have to re-advertise, we'll go that route,
All right, thank you.
okay?
Do you need a second for the reconsideration?
Yes, I do.
I'll make the second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Roberts. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Okay.
Thank you.
All right.
4.03.
4.03. All right, Ms. Roberts, you had a question, or you wanted to add additional language.
Sure, so I move approval of 4.03 with item number 15, language added that says, Board approved August 15, 2023, item 10.04.
Okay, so do I have a motion to approve item 4.03 with the changes?
That's my motion.
So moved. Ms.
Second.
Roberts?
I'll second.
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, we're.
Madam Chair?
Yes.
On that item was item number 1 regarding the Arlington Electric contract for the SAM facility. I think there might be somebody in the audience who may want to just say a few words.
Yes, it does include that. Is there?
Okay, I didn't know if the gentleman wanted to say a few words. James?
Go ahead.
If you want to, you can. If you don't, you don't have to.
That
Totally
works
up to
either
you.
way.
If you could just state your name for the record.
I'm James Jones, I'm the president of SPAM, and I appreciate this item coming before the board and the opportunity. As you know, for the new facility, we have to have electrical service, and so what was estimated was, or quoted, was what would get us fully functional. And so I was just here in case you had any questions about the estimate or that, so if you do have any questions, glad to take those.
Thank you. I think we're good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. We look
Thank you.
forward to this project getting started. Thank you. Okay. All right, well, let's move on to first review of school board policies. And we'll take item 19.01, which is the terms based on HB 477 that passed this last legislative session for term limits for school board members. Are there any questions? Is there any comments, or are there any comments from the public? All right, seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move approval of the advertising for policy 144 terms.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.03 is the first review for, 19.02 is the first review for employment of administrators, employment of instructional staff, and employment of support staff. These are policy numbers 1120, 3120, and 4120. Are there any questions from the board? Is there any comment from the public? Seeing none, do I have a motion?
I move approval of the advertising review for 1120, 3120, and 4120.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, item 19.03 is the first review and approve the advertising for background screening and employment history checks. These relate, again, they're multiple policies depending on the employee. is 1121.01, 3121.01, and 4121.01 are the policy numbers. Are there any questions? Is there any comment from the public? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion?
Motion to approve 1903, which includes 112101, 312101, and 412101.
Second?
Okay, I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, item, oh wait, did I skip one? Item 19.04 is policy numbers 1217, 3217, 4217, 5772, and 7217 related to weapons. And this is in compliance with Florida Statute 790.115 paren 3. These policies are revised to remove members of the Armed Forces and National Guard from law enforcement officer exception. Are there any questions by the board? Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve 19.04?
So moved.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.05 is related to policy 2215 to extend the prohibition of instruction in sexual orientation / gender identity to include pre-kindergarten through 8th grade, except when required by Florida law. And it also, let's see, the policy also specifies that if such instruction is provided in grades 9 through 12, it must be age appropriate or developmentally appropriate for students in accordance with state standards. Additionally, the policy now includes language regarding the required instruction implementation plan that must be submitted to the Florida Department of Education. Districts need to review the drafting note included in the policy update as it relates to the submission of the plan. Finally, the policy includes newly required instruction related to the history of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, including the history of Japanese internment camps and the incarceration of Japanese Americans during World War II. The immigration, citizenship, civil rights, identity, and culture of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders, and the contributions of Asian Americans and Pacific Islanders to American society. Are there any questions from the board? Is there any public comment on these policies? Please come up, state your name, and then I'll need you to fill out one of these and bring it back.
My name's Elizabeth Crane, and I put in a request to speak later. But they be promoting transgenderism in our school? Is that what this is about? Teaching this in our schools?
It's about not teach, it's a prohibition on the
Oh,
instruction.
prohibition. I didn't hear that. Thank
Yeah.
you.
Mhm. Thank you.
Do you want to read that paragraph into the record?
I did read it.
Oh.
To extend the prohibition on instruction in sexual orientation / gender identity to include pre-kindergarten through grade 8. Yeah, I read that.
Okay.
Motion to approve 1905, policy 2215, sorry.
Was that a
Second.
second? Okay, a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Mr. DiTerlizzi. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, item 19, I'll just keep an eye on my watch. Item 19.06, which is policy 2271. The policy is revised to accommodate a statutory change as a result of HB 5101 to provide that the board will pay for the cost of instructional materials for public high school students who are earning credit toward graduation under the dual enrollment program. Are there any questions from the board?
Which we have been paying for. It's
Yes.
just now in the policy, but we have been paying for that all along.
Yes,
so.
we have, yes. Is there any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve item 19.06?
I move approval of the advertising for policy 2271.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.07 is in reference to policy 2370. Required that a student submit an application to the superintendent for approval to participate in a particular educational option, such as distance learning, online coursework, tutorial programs, independent study, correspondence courses, educational travel, mentorship programs, summer school, dual enrollment, collegiate high school programs, and early college entrance. Florida law does not specifically require the superintendent to review and approve the application. As such, the policy now specifies that upon submission of an application to the district and the student meeting all program eligibility, the student will be permitted to participate in the selected program. Is there any questions from the board? Is there any public comment on this item? Do I have a motion to approve 19.07?
Motion to approve 19.07 educational options.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, item 19.08, which is policy 2410. This policy is revised to delete references to mental health programs as they have been moved to new policy 2410.01, mental health services. Are there any questions from the board? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve item 19.08?
Motion to approve 19.08.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Russell, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.09 is the new policy that reflects newly created Florida Statute 1006.041 and other statutory changes in House Bill 5101 that require a mental health assistance program to be implemented by the district. It incorporates sections previously located in Policy 2410 and adds provisions for a mental health assistance plan to be approved annually by the board and submitted to the Florida Department of Education. Are there any questions from the board?
We spoke about this at the workshop, to just reiterate that this is already in place. We're just being told now that we have to do it, but we're already doing it.
Correct.
Thank you.
Motion to approve 19.09.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Russell, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.10, this policy is revised to include the provisions of House Bill 225, which authorize traditional public school students to participate in interscholastic and intrascholastic activities through an agreement with a private school. Are there any questions from the board? Is there any public comment on this policy? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve 19.10?
Motion to approve 19.10 interscholastic athletics.
Okay.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.11 is Policy 2450, Adult Education. This policy is revised to include language regarding an Americanization program of instruction in Veterans Benefits and Transition Act. Are there any questions from the board? Is there any public comment? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve 1911?
Motion to approve 1911, adult education.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.12 is policy number 2460, which implements statutory changes from Senate Bill 290 and House Bill 795. These changes include modifications to language regarding the definition of private instructional personnel as it relates to district personnel collaborating with private instructional personnel who are hired or contracted by parents. A new section titled Early Literacy Skills for Retained Pre-Kindergarten Students is also included. Are there any questions from the board? Any public comment on this policy? Okay. Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve 19.12?
Move approval of the advertising for policy 2460.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.13, student assessment. This is policy 2623. The technical correction to this policy relates to a statutory citation that was renumbered in House Bill 7039. Are there any questions from the board? Any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve 19.13?
Motion to approve 19.13, student assessment.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.14 is policy 3700, Teachers' Bill of Rights. This is a new policy. HB 1035 created a new Teachers' Bill of Rights pursuant to Florida Statute 1015.01 through 1015.06. This policy is a restatement of the rights afforded to teachers under HB 1035. Are there any questions from the board? Any public comment on this policy? Okay, seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve 19.14?
Motion to approve 19.14, Teachers' Bill of Rights.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.15, which is policy 5121, controlled open enrollment. This policy is revised to reflect the provisions of House Bill 633 to provide that independent children of active duty military personnel be enrolled in certain programs and to be able to enroll in any school within the state of Florida. The legislation also removes specified funding reduction calculations with regard to class size requirements. Are there any questions from the board on this item? Any public comments? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve item 19.15?
Motion to approve 19.15, controlled open enrollment.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.16 is policy 5420, reporting student progress. The technical correction to this policy relates to a statutory citation. Are there any questions from the board? Any public comment? Seeing none, do I have a motion to approve item 19.16?
Motion to approve 19.16.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Russell, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. Item 19.17 is policy 7421, restrooms and changing facilities. This is a new policy. HB 1521 created the Safety in Private Spaces Act. The act includes numerous requirements related to restrooms and changing facilities in K-12 and post-secondary schools. Importantly, the act applies to more than just student restrooms and changing facilities. As such, policy 5865 will be deleted. New policy 7421 incorporates the requirements of HB 1521. Of note, school districts should be aware of the requirement in HB 1521 that educational institutions establish disciplinary procedures within their code of conduct for students who violate the prohibitions of HB 1521, which I believe we approved those changes in our student code of conduct already. Are there any questions from the board?
I had one. We're referencing that we're deleting policy 5865, Ms. Falls. But I think we need to, if we're really doing that, we need to advertise it and go through the advertising of the other thing, right? We don't have it, so it just,
This is new.
okay, because the language says
But we're deleting.
policy 5865. Do we have a 58? So we don't have a 5865, so we're not deleting a policy. Okay,
Okay.
thank you.
So we'll make that correction to the description, and do I have a motion, is there any public comment on this item? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve 19.17?
Motion to approve
So moved.
19.17.
So I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett and a second by Mr. Dieterlisi.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. I know we're at 5:02. We have 3 more policies to get through. If we can just get through these, and then we'll take public comment after that. Item 19.18, which is policy 8600, transportation. Among other things, HB1 modified Florida Statute 1006.21 and 1006.22 to give greater flexibility to school boards regarding student transportation, including by buses and other vehicles. This policy is revised in light of the flexibility afforded by HB1. Of note, since most school districts currently utilize school buses for student transportation, policy 8600 has not been substantially revised. If necessary, we'll revisit that in the future. Also, SB 766 gives school districts the option to utilize school bus infraction detection systems to increase public safety. Are there any questions from the board about this item? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve 19.18?
Motion to approve 19.18.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Russell, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. All right, items 8610, which is, I'm sorry, item 19.19 is policy 8610, transportation route planning. This is again regarding the flexibility for school boards regarding student transportation, including buses and other vehicles. And that's basically what this policy does. Are there any questions from the board? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none. Do I have a motion to approve item 19.19?
Motion to approve 19.19, transportation route planning.
Second.
I have a motion by Ms. Pritchett, a second by Ms. Russell. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And this next item, 19.20, is policy 8660, alternative transportation methods. Again, it's giving school districts flexibility in the type of transportation. Are there any board questions, comments? Any public comment? Okay, seeing none, do I have a motion to approve 19.20?
Move approval of the advertising for 8660 alternative transportation methods.
Second?
I have a motion by Ms. Roberts, a second by Ms. Pritchett. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously. And just so the public knows, this is just approval of the advertising, so these will be advertised and they will come back to the board for final approval. So you'll get, if there's anything that interests you, you will have another opportunity to comment on these. Okay, now we're going to go back to public comment. Citizen input is vital to the improvement of our district. Most times, your remarks may be listened to without comment from the board members or superintendent. This does not mean they are heard with any less intensity or concern. Where appropriate, the superintendent and staff will investigate your comments and report back to you and the board with an answer. We thank you for taking the time and having the concern to make our district better. Your presentation to the board should not exceed 3 minutes. And first up is Missy Harris.
Thought I was fifth. Okay. Hi, Missy Harris, Stewart, been here since '75. I have a cheat sheet. I'm on an assignment, and I'm here to pray for you guys, for the school board members. I'm here today to pray for protection and wisdom for all Martin County school system members, the board members especially. I am praying Psalm 91 over all the teachers and the staff in the schools every day. God wants peace and safety in Martin County. I have been involved in the school systems. I helped at Kids Crew in Indiantown for 7 years. I was a foster parent for 5 to teenagers. I love children, and it's really important. I'm so glad we have a new superintendent, and I'm excited what's coming. But I just have to say that I just am praying for peace and safety, because I believe that prayer does change things. And I will continue to pray for Martin County school system and for the unity that I believe, because I really believe the best is yet to come. I think we're going to go through hard times, but I think that this is all going to benefit the children, which is what we're here for. And I just want to thank you all for being up there, making these hard decisions, putting up with the division that's going on right now. And I appreciate what you're doing. I just want to let you know that it's not, there's no easy solution, but I just know that prayer works. So I'm going to be praying for everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Just kind of hold our applause, please. Next up is Elizabeth Crane, followed by Sydney Thomas.
My name's Elizabeth Crane, and I'm a resident of Stewart. I have lived here about 45 years and been a Florida resident for more than that. And I have come here today to, first of all, thank everyone who's involved, who is protecting our children. Because as we have seen these past meetings that have come by, there are predators that have put themselves in positions of power. And in the animal kingdom, that's how they live, that's how they eat, it's instinct. But in the human kingdom, those are people who ruthlessly exploit others. And that's what I want to stop in our schools, to protect our children. All this talk of all these identities, how they can be this, how they can be that. That's all identity politics. That's all Marxism. That's a pyramid of victimhood. And it requires a centralization of power to brainwash people. And the effects of pornography are so devastating on our society. And I don't know if anyone here have heard of the Florida Faith Alliance, but it combats child trafficking, which has exploded all over the world. America is the #1 consumer of child pornography. And yet we're allowing it in our schools across the nation. And the stats are just overwhelming. In America, child exploitation online has grown over 98% since the pandemic. Porn, sexting, and sextortion is fastest growing gateway to child trafficking. If you want to get a child involved in trafficking, you expose them to pornography. It lessens their ability to say no. It traumatizes them. They are able to control them. And child porn fuels a demand, and demand fuels a supply. And this is what we're having. So these books, under the guise, under the Trojan horse of helping these children, are a predator's way of installing themselves in our education system. And I want to say that I want to stand up for these children, to be a protector, not a predator. Thank you for your time.
Sydney Thomas, followed by Chad Fair.
Madam Chair, members of the board, and Superintendent Main, thank you for what for my kids have been a seamless start to the school year. So thank you for all that you do to make that happen. Simply put, I do not align with a lot of the values that have been happening in our legislation in our school. I do not agree with what I see as an effort to ban books. I disagree with quoting Hitler in newsletters. I disagree with a targeted effort to get rid of our unions. I disagree with anything that tries to limit an inclusive environment for our LGBTQ+ students. I disagree completely with basically all the founding principles of Moms for Liberty. That being said, I was sent recordings of a publicized series held by the same local church that hosts the Moms for Liberty meetings and pointedly advocates for Moms for Liberty members to become members of our school board and other political positions. 3 of our 5 school board members are members of this church. This series was focused solely on education. All 3 of our school board members spoke as guest speakers at the event. During the event, it was explicitly said that the church's goal was to spread the word of God to our students through volunteer work at the school, something called Strike Force that is apparently happening. Their mission, as they see it, is to spread the word of their God, and they see schools as the perfect territory to do this. They repeatedly refer to schools as expanding their territory and said it is their goal to become the core volunteer basis at certain schools so that they can share the word of God to our students. No mention of helping our students perform better academically, but to spread the word of God, which they feel is their purpose. It may sound like an exaggeration, but it's not. There are clips. It's on YouTube. As a parent of 2 students in the district, I'm not okay with that. If members of the public feel compelled to volunteer because it's the right thing to do, that's great. However, my family has its own beliefs, its own spirituality. It is not the business of anyone at a public school, volunteer or not, to speak of God or the word of God to my children. All of the talk of parents' rights, and I want to ensure that my rights of a parent are also respected. And I would question the district, how are you going to protect my rights as a parent to make sure that people who have made their intentions clear of sharing the word of their God, which is not the same word as my God. I would never limit an inclusive education to LGBTQ students. I would never risk a higher rate of self-harm and suicide of students because of a belief like that. I don't want these values shared with my kids. And I hope the district protects my students and students have parents who are too busy to pay attention to this and shouldn't have to. Thank you for your time.
Chad Fair, followed by Martine O'Connor. And if I could just ask everyone to please hold your applause and be respectful. I know there's a lot of differing opinions. If we could all please, we go through this every meeting. Please. Go ahead.
You mean after this comment?
After this, you can clap for him, but nobody else. No, I'm kidding.
Madam Chair, members of the school board, Superintendent Main, reflecting on those first days of school and the Meet the Teacher as a new school year starts, something kind of hit me this year. My daughters went into their classrooms and were met with smiles and hugs and the spirit of love and enthusiasm and optimism. And I thought, you know, what if we as adults mirrored that for our kids? If kids are in a safe place, a place where they feel loved, a place where they feel respected, what's going to happen are the educational results that we all come here every month and argue about. But if we allow our teachers to actually love our kids and support our kids, I don't care what the kid's gender identity is, or sexuality, or race, or economic class. If the teachers love the students, teach the curriculum, the students will learn. And I thought, well, I wonder what happens if we actually show love to our teachers. I thought, man, I bet the same thing happens if we are able to show our teachers that they're loved and they're supported. Well, I bet they'll perform better too. And so much of these meetings and the board discussions and the political crap that's going on is about not supporting and not loving our teachers. And what if we flipped that script and actually loved our teachers and had them love our students? I can't help but wonder what that looks like. I've got to imagine it's better than what we've been doing lately.
Okay. Please. Martine O'Connor, followed by Lisa Bullington.
Good afternoon, Mr. Main and board members. My name is Martine O'Connor. I'm a speech language pathologist. I hold a master's degree and a certification from American Speech Language Hearing Association. I have begun my 17th year. I've worked with some of the teachers who are in this room, and my 30th year as a clinician, a speech language therapist. Some of our group had the opportunity to speak graciously with the school board at a meeting back in February. I am currently speaking to promote a positive change in our profession within the district so that we can entice speech language pathologists to come join Martin County's highly qualified and dedicated group. Superintendent Main again had graciously met with our group and heard our concerns for competitive salaries. Our concern remains that we have a critical shortage of certified speech language pathologists. An employee resigned over the summer, so we now only have 8 employees in this group. To provide highly qualified evaluation and therapy and proper certification, we need to receive more competitive salaries. The shortage of highly qualified speech language pathologists stems in part from the inability to compete with the provided pay in surrounding counties. The district has hired and contracted speech language pathology assistants, which only help to buffer the shortage in some of the schools. These assistants require supervision from a speech language pathologist. They cannot conduct evaluations on everybody's cute, wonderful children, diagnose, interpret reports, or plan treatment, or determine dismissal criteria when they've made Yahoo that gain and the kid is able to move out of our programs, or sign any document without a co-signature from a speech language pathologist. The supervision has added a workload to the supervising speech language pathologist without receiving any additional pay to do so. We are concerned about the rigorous treatment of our Martin County ESC students who deserve to be provided with the highest quality of services and having certified speech language pathologists working with them. Please consider increasing the compensation to retain the outstanding team that we have and recruiting more speech-language pathology employees. We want to be a part of the superintendent's aspirations to move our district to #1. We were so moved by the convocation the other evening. And we want to lead with love, absolutely 100%, as that father just said, and heart. I thank you for your time.
Lisa Bullington, followed by Suzanne Lopez.
Good afternoon, board members, Superintendent Main, and everyone. I am Lisa Bullington, one of the
Lisa, one second, can you pull the mic down so that
Oh.
the people on watching can hear you? Yeah,
Sure.
thank you.
Okay. I'm Lisa Bullington, one of 8 speech and language pathologists, SLPs, employed with Martin County School District, and I've been providing therapy for Martin County students for 19 years. Last school year in February, 3 SLPs spoke at a board meeting to make you aware of our concerns about the recruitment and retention of employee SLPs, and we were all thrilled and thankful for the responses from several board members, from the superintendent, from the prior department head. You all listened and began problem-solving discussions. However, we still have a critical shortage of SLPs, and the overall number of contracted and employee SLPs has dropped since last school year, and we have more unfilled positions in the district. And I'm proposing that the county recognize this is a critical shortage. I'm asking the board to support measures that would make Martin County not only more attractive for recruitment and retention of SLPs, but superior to other opportunities. We need to stand out as the best place for an SLP to work, and fair and competitive compensation is key. Please keep these imperative needs at the forefront. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, next up is Suzanne Lopez, followed by Kelly Waddle.
Hi, I'm Suzanne Lopez. I'm a retired teacher, having taught in Martin County for 18 years. I didn't think there was anything worse than Common Core, ELA, and math standards, but I think I was wrong. I'm concerned about these books. I mean, I hope that they are out of the classroom and they don't come back extremely explicit. Can't believe that anybody would want them in the rooms. There's no place in the classroom for books about sexuality. I mean, that's the child's parents' job, not the teachers, and then by extension, the school district, to introduce these topics. This is nothing short of grooming children and causing them to be confused. In all my years of teaching, I never witnessed any children that were bullied because of what they identified as anything. If anything, if it's happening now, it's because sexualized topics are being sexual subject matter. And from the book, The Naked Communist by Cleon Skousen, I believe his name is, published in 1962, there are 45 goals of communism. Goal number 26, to present sexual degeneracy and promiscuity as normal, natural, and healthy. And this is called as perfectly normal. Okay. This is happening in children's cartoons, movies. If you look at any of the Disney latest movies, unbelievable stuff. Children's books, mainstream media, and now in the schools. So please, if there are any books left in the schools, please remove them and don't let them come back. This is not for the classroom.
Please hold your applause. Kelly Waddle, followed by our last speaker is Kate Logan Lindgren.
Hi, my name is Kelly Waddell, and I am a mom of a current 5th grader at Felix A. Williams Elementary and a 7th grader at Stewart Middle School. I'm here today to express my concern with the discontinuation of off-block or PE waiver at Stewart Middle School. I was told by administration this was a district decision. My 7th grader is a member of the National Junior Honor Society, active in our church, and spends 10+ hours a week at dance. Is it because I think she will become a professional dancer? No. It is because dance has helped to give her confidence, discipline, and dedication, not to mention it has helped to shape her into the young lady she is becoming. We chose the off-block option for our daughter after struggling her first semester as a 6th grader at Stewart Middle School. She was going straight to dance after school, which left little to no time for homework, which resulted in very late nights and a stressed out child who was losing sleep. We were given no notice of the change. We based her entire dance schedule this year around the possibility of her leaving school at 3 o'clock. I was provided a form at the end of the school year last year and filled it out, and when I went to pick up my daughter on Thursday after the first day of school at 3 o'clock, they were told me that this is no longer a possibility and that it was a district decision. I'm asking the school board to consider reinstating this as an option for the middle school students because of the fact that it ends so late. Thank you.
So in just a minute, I'll ask the superintendent to address that after we have one more speaker. Okay, Kate Logan Lindgren.
Hi, everyone. Thank you for your time today. I'm a former educator of this district, and I want to start by sending very best wishes to all of the teachers and school staff and SLPs for a successful start to your school year. It seemed very enthusiastic from what I've seen so far, and I know everyone's doing an absolutely wonderful job. We love you, we support you, and I am positive none of you are facilitating child pornography or encouraging communism. Back in June, the book A Stolen Life by J.C. Dugard was removed from library shelves. Its removal was requested by a form signed by, just quote, Moms for Liberty of Martin County. And I found it a little odd that a form signed by an organization would be accepted, just because the board rules specifically state that requests for reconsideration of materials should be submitted by a parent of a student or a resident of the county, not an organization. Upon further inquiry, I learned the form was submitted by Julie Marshall and was accepted because she's well known by the principal, who could verify that she's an appropriate stakeholder in the matter. I do ask that forms that are submitted for requests for reconsideration be signed by individuals in accordance with the board policy, not organizations in the future, especially those labeled by the Southern Poverty Law Center as a hate group. I sent the board multiple emails about this topic at the end of June. Not a single member replied to me to answer any of my questions. I don't know if you assume that if you kind of don't reply that we'll forget, but I would like to assure you that's not the case. I won't forget. And I do want to echo what Chad said earlier. I think he is, as usual, the star public commenter. We should all make sure that we're loving and supporting our children's teachers, our neighbors who are teachers at this time, and we should definitely pay the SLPs more. Yeah. Thank you.
So, Mr. Maine, would you like to address the Stewart Middle School? I think that there might be some miscommunication about misinformation out there.
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. So I just want to make sure that the members of the public understand and know that we have been and will continue to work with families individually that have sports-related and or dance or extracurricular activities with proper documentation. So to the mom who just spoke, if you'll get with me before you go, we'll make sure that we work on that. The whole premise of limiting the number of middle schoolers taking off blocks was we have over 200 middle schoolers that are currently on off blocks. It has gotten way out of control. And the number of those students not all of those students have proper paperwork to say that they are in an extracurricular activity and or sport that deems it appropriate for them to have an off block. So to give you some examples, it started out as a PE waiver for maybe having 7th period to be able to get out of 7th period because you have PE 7th period and you can go home early, to now we have multiple students throughout the district in middle school that have 2nd period, 3rd period, 4th period off. They're coming to school for maybe only 2 periods in the beginning of the day. They're leaving. Many times these students are not being picked up. They're walking off of campus. They are in neighborhoods. They are loitering in businesses. And then they are coming back later in the day to rejoin 4th or 5th period to close out the day. So if there's misinformation out there that we have stopped all off blocks, that is definitely not the case, but we are working to clean up and limit the number of students who are taking off blocks just to take an off block. So I want to make sure that that is at the high school level. We also have to make sure that we understand students are in dual enrollment. We understand that students are working with internships and externships, but it is also very important for us as a school district to make sure that students who are taking off blocks and are off campus are being successful, that they have the proper GPA, that they are not failing their classes, and that they are meeting graduation requirements. We have many juniors and seniors who absolutely are doing everything that they need to have off blocks, but we have a lot of freshmen and sophomores who are not meeting graduation requirements, are failing their classes, have not passed their state assessments, and are taking multiple off blocks that do not give us the ability to provide the proper remediation and/or necessary support for those students to be successful. So it is work as a district to make sure that we are providing students what they need to be successful and limiting the number of off blocks for those students who don't necessarily meet the standard that we are setting forth through the guidance department for students to be successful.
Perfect. Thank you. And I have one more public comment. If there's anyone else who'd like to speak, please bring me a form now. This is the last call for public comment. Please, if you have something. Julie Marshall.
Hi. Hope everyone had a great summer. I just want to address something that was just said. The reason why I put Moms for Liberty on the last challenge that I had was because everyone always referred to Julie Marshall as Moms for Liberty. The first 140 challenges that I made only had my name on it. Never Moms for Liberty, never an organization, but everyone put me with that organization. So I thought, well, if they're going to go ahead and do that, I put that on the last challenge that I filed. And I stand by that challenge. J.C. Dugard is a horrific story, and it's a sad story for everyone to read, but it is absolutely not appropriate to be in any high school library. And I don't know what person they're talking about, principal. It was in all three high school libraries. And I think everyone knows, if they've read or heard anything about J.C. Dugard, that did not belong in our schools. So I will gladly put my name on the rest from now on, and I guess it will be Julie Marshall with Moms for Liberty, because that's all I'm known as. But people, if you're wanting to defend keeping that book in the schools, I find that indefensible. You know, I just don't know how morally bankrupt some of these people are that want to keep this stuff in our schools. So, thank you.
Okay, that concludes public comment. We are now going to move right into open to the board. Mr. Dieterlese, did you have anything?
I don't have anything. I just want to wish everybody a happy back to school. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Thank you. Ms. Pritchett?
I would like to ask Superintendent Main to discuss the financial impact that the off-block was also having on the district.
Sure, thank you. As of right now, the off blocks for the district are costing the district, for students who are not generating FTE, $2 million per year. And so I don't want to make this a financial issue, because there are options for students, and we do recommend that in many cases, dual enrollment and/or courses that off campus through Florida Virtual School that do not allow us to generate the FTE are what's best for those students based on their family situation. But It does come with a financial impact to the district when those students are not in our class full-time, and it is currently $2 million per year in FTE that we are losing, particularly at the middle school level when over 200 students are taking off blocks. We need to be providing advanced level coursework and opportunities for those students at the middle school level to stay on campus. If they're feeling the need that they are finished and that they're leaving, we need to be enriching them. And so our team needs to, work together to figure out which coursework offerings that we can provide at the middle school level so that there's more incentive for those students to stay and not choose to leave early for those students who are not participating in extracurricular activities. Many of them are choosing to take Florida virtual school courses because they offer courses that we currently at the middle school level do not. And so that is acceptable, but we need to be providing those courses for our families as well.
Thank you.
Well, and it should be noted as well, the safety issue, because it's not just kids leaving school at the end of the day, it's kids leaving in the middle of the day, walking to businesses that surround the school, and and then coming back to school, which can create some attendance issues, tardiness, all of those things. So it's really a lot about a lot of things. First is student achievement, student safety, and then, yes, there are some monetary issues, but that is not the number one factor in why we need to kind of curtail what's happening, because students leaving in the middle of the day is also not good practice. And there's no possible way to create a schedule where that everyone who's requesting an off block would get 7th period or the beginning of the day, either one. It's just not possible. And so I have a kind of an issue with kids leaving specifically in middle school in the middle of the day and then coming back. So that's what we really need to address. And regardless of their PE, whatever we're doing to enrich, whether it's some sort of study hall or activity or club that can take place, we need to think outside the box to keep those kids on campus. So, thank you. Thank you for bringing that up. Did you have anything else?
No.
Ms. Russell?
I just want to say welcome back to our teachers and students, and thank you for your strong leadership, Mr. Main. I really appreciate it, and I feel like everyone's really excited for this year, and that's because of you and the precedent that you've set, and so I really appreciate that. Thank you.
Agree.
Ms. Roberts?
Yeah, and I think as far as the middle school off block is concerned, I think there was a pervasive misuse of that in several schools. I mean, I don't think it was every school. I mean, some schools found it impossible to be able to do that based on the way that their schedule was done. But I mean, it's really concerning when that becomes pervasive and people are doing that and taking that time off, whether it's in the middle, whether it's at the end, whatever. But, it's even more concerning. So you lose the FTE of $2 million, but then you have students that fall behind. Then we're paying additional money to bring those students back up to where they need to be. So we're getting hit twice for something that I think was really being misused. I know that it was included in the documents that Dr. Miller brought us in June in the student progression plan. It was highlighted in red in there that said that middle school students would not be able to take off during the day, but that might have been missed by some people, so.
Well, and for the record, I do want to be clear that there were schools that started notification in June through our public information office, providing a letter to parents, and through multiple channels, it was sent out that this was going to be how we were proceeding forward. Mm-hmm. And so it was communicated, whether it was communicated effectively at every school site. Obviously, we're going to miss some people, but I do know that it was pushed out and it was communicated starting in June.
And at the same time, I know that while we're talking about enrichment for kids, I know that there's some avenues that I'll bring to you and talk to you about. There are some ability to get some of those enrichments from an outside contractor company that will do something for you so that you can add some, I think Project Lead the Way is one of them, but there's several other things where you can add some additional programming. and be able to fit it into the schedule. So, thank you.
Well, and I think to your point, Ms. Roberts, I think that's a great idea, and also involving like even our own leadership program, youth leadership programs through like the Stewart Chamber, where you would have a captive audience if they have an off block. They could participate in some sort of leadership program while they're at school in between. They don't have to be taking PE if for whatever reason they don't have PE, but we can utilize things that we already have in our community to enrich our students, so.
Sure, I mean, and specifically, I know that, I think it's, I believe that it's Varsity Tutor that's able to do an online teaching, so you can pick a subject that we might not be offering. You know, so let's say you had 8 middle school students or 10 middle school students that wanted to learn Latin, and you knew that even though they're in 3 different or 4 different or 5 different middle schools, if you knew that their schedule at this point in time would free them up and allow them to learn that virtually, there is a way that that can be done. So, I mean, I think there's some opportunities there to get some additional. And the only other thing I had was, the only other thing I had was a week ago, the Jensen Beach Chamber did their welcome back for the schools, all the teachers of the schools that go for the children that are in Jensen Beach. So that included Jensen Beach Elementary, Felix, Stewart Middle School, and Jensen Beach High School. And it was a really exciting event. It's always well received, and the teachers seem to really enjoy it too. So thank you. That's all I have.
Thank you. I have quite a few things. I just wanted to say thank you to Kate McCormick and her team, Lauren, Mark, and Tamika. They are going around in our community doing the youth mental health first aid training. And my staff that interact every day with the birth to 5 teachers in our preschools and VPK programs all took the course, and they say amazing things about it, and we can't wait to use those tools that we learned helping our youngest learners. I missed the superintendent's kickoff, and I got to see the videos, and I got kind of teary-eyed and chills as well watching it. It's the first time I got to see it. I was in Orlando participating in the reactor panels, setting the cut scores for our new standardized testing. And it is, I have to say, I was sharing with Ms. Pritchett before the meeting, what an amazing process that was. Over 600 teachers were brought together across the state of Florida, and they spent an entire week studying all of the questions and looking at the levels and where students should be based on that test that they have to take. And when we got there, I honestly thought we're never going to get this work done, but we did. And our recommendation to Department of Education was to take the recommendations made by the teachers. They put in all the work, I mean, hours and hours and hours of content expert opinions, and they really did all the work. We were just a small group of 15 that were able to look at their work and go through the process and make sure that the process was effective, and it blew my mind how amazing it was and the hard work that they did. So I was honored to be a part of that. Just reminding the board members and the public that the review of the education code is still going on. You have until August 16th to make recommendations to any changes that you'd like to see happen. It's not really changes, it's eliminating things that, it's not policy, it's really eliminating things that can be, difficult things that over the years, duplicative laws, things that have changed over the years that we would like to remove to make education simpler. Is kind of the goal. So that is, I believe I sent the information to, if we can get that out again to the public as well, to let them know where to, it's a simple way for the public to participate through a kind of a Survey Monkey, and you just go in and talk about the things that you problems you see and you would like to eliminate. Again, we're going to have our first workshop and meeting in our new boardroom, so that will be September 5th. So don't come here. If you're coming to speak or participate, please, it'll be at our new building at 1939 Southeast Federal Highway. And I'm sure there will be signs when you enter off of Federal where to go. So we're really excited about that. And again, congratulations on a new school year to our teachers and our students and our families. And day 4 is in the books now. Hopefully everybody's home safely. And Superintendent Main, I just want to say I have been on this board a while, and I've never felt this level of enthusiasm from our teachers and our parents, and I think that's a testament to your leadership, so thank you very much. I also had the pleasure of welcoming or saying some opening remarks at new teacher orientation. And it was actually day 5 of their orientation. They had a full week of orientation. So I got them on the last day, and you would have thought it was the first day. They were so excited, and there was so much enthusiasm in the room. And there were a lot of brand new teachers, so the ones that had just graduated from college, but there were a lot of teachers that have lots of experience but are new to Martin County, and it was just amazing watching them work together and be so excited for each other and for what's happening. And again, it's like Warfield Elementary, they really gave me a good shout out when I was there, since that's one of my alma maters here, so they were really excited, especially there, so that was a wonderful event. And then the ribbon cuttings at Palm City Elementary, Jensen Beach Elementary, and Indiantown High School have happened in the last month, and all of them were amazing, and we're really excited about the opportunities for all of our students to have and parents to have in our new building. So we're really excited about that. And special thank you to the Palm City Chamber as well, in addition to Jensen Beach, who provided breakfast and lunch and all kinds of goodies to our teachers and staff for the opening of school. So I hope everyone has a wonderful school year, and it's really off to a great start. So thank you all very much. Is there anything else from anyone? All right, this meeting is adjourned. Thank you.